Hello and welcome to the Winning Post, powered by the Serum Institute of India in association with the Delton Casinos. We bring you the finest action from Mahalakshmi as the Mumbai season goes well into March, starting with the Audi Million, a race for 3-year-old horses over 6 furlongs.
The Mumbai season may be winding down, but the action on the track remains as thrilling and exciting as classic season. And this was more than evident on the weekend of the CN Wadia Gold Cup. 2 days of racing saw the calendar chock-a-block with 17 races on the cards. Kicking off the action was the Ronaldo Plate, a Class 3 race over 1,600 meters. A small field of 4 horses came into the parade ring for this one. Magnificence from SK Sundarji's yard enjoyed a lion's share of market support here. The 4-year-old had run 5th in the RR Ruya over 2,000 meters and was outdone in the derby by a competitive field. This time around, in the company of an evenly matched field, he was expected to land the spoils with A. Sandesh in the saddle. Magnificence would, however, face a tough fight from backman trained by Faisal Abbas, who had a second-place finish under his belt from his last start, the Design 1 Million over 1,400 meters. He was now stepping up in trip and would be looking at Neeraj Rawal to guide him home.
3/4 of a length ahead of Batman, and Magnificence is beginning to make a forward move in the center of the path. On the outside there is Sogra, but it's going to be Batman in the center, the leader by a length in front of Magnificence, trying to make a forward move. Widest of all is Sogra, but Batman is about 3/4 of a length ahead. Magnificence on the near side. It's Batman from Magnificent. Batman from Magnificent. Batman holds on from Magnificent and the Charging Tigress.
I just went on praying to God, and I had faith in Mr. Faisal and my jockey and my team, and happy we won.
It's been wonderful. I've come after a long time, and it's a fantastic start for the day.
I was quite sure about winning, and it did it. Batman did it.
Well, I think Neeraj rode a fantastic race. You know, he settled him well behind Charging Tigress, and waited for the right time. He came into the straight and he opened up a gap, and kept kicking on from there. So I give full marks to Neeraj for riding a brilliant race, and I'm really happy that way the race went about for us. The way he kicked on in the last 100 meters, I knew that it will be difficult for Magnificence to catch on, and we had the weight advantage too, so I knew that would come into play.
With 300 to go, Batman took up the running and charged ahead. Magnificence made a forward move just then, and it was neck and neck between the two. In the end, it was Batman who stuck his neck out at the wire to beat the favourite, while Charging Tigress followed 2 3/4 lengths later to take up the third. A race later, the Radha Sikhtya Trophy saw 5 horses come into the fray for the Class 2 race to be run over 2,400 meters. Phenomenal Memory, trained by Dallas Todiwala, was coming into the fray on the back of a win in a Class 3 over the same trip, and would be looking at continuing his winning form with A. Sandesh in the saddle. Malesh Neredu fielded Jigsaw, who was coming into the contest on the back of a 5th place in the Golconda Derby Stakes on Jan 31st. He had earlier won a Class 3 in Mumbai over the Derby trip and would be looking at continuing his form with Yash Neredu in the saddle.
And entered into the straight. Jigsaw by about 2.5 to 3 from Chef Dever in second. Then this Phenomenal Memory followed by Starry Brook and Square Moon. Going inside the last 300 meters, and Jigsaw still there by about 2 lengths now from Phenomenal Memory coming up on the outside. Then there's Chef Deborah making rapid progress in the center. Then comes Starry Brook and Square Moon. Going inside the last 200 meters, and Jigsaw there on the inside with Phenomenal Memory coming to challenge on the outside. And next separating these two is Jigsaw and Phenomenal Memory. It's Phenomenal Memory at the post, makes it from Jigsaw. Then the Chef Deborah.
I think the jockey rode a good race. Sandesh rode a very good race. He didn't keep the horse too far back. He followed the 2 in front of him, and at the right time he made his move, and we won the race. The horse has got to go up more, because his dam, the mother, won the Pune Derby. So he's a confirmed stayer. We might go for the Ledger straight away, or we may give him one more run.
As usual, it was a slow pace. It was falsely run. The clock 2:36, but I told my boy just to sit. I knew Jigsaw would go to the front because he's a normal front runner, and I thought Starry Brook would go, but it went against him. and he was traveling sweetly all the way. I was a little worried the pace was a bit too slow, but when Sandesh took his whip out and cracked him and he passed Shea Dove, and he was gaining inch by inch on Jigsaw, I knew I'd won the race then. There's a Class 2 mile and a quarter on at the end of the month, or there's a Class 1 on at the end of April. I'll either place him to run any of those races, if he takes the summer well.
Jigsaw was the first one to come into the home stretch, with the rest of the field 3 lengths behind him. However, with 400 to go, Sandesh put Phenomenal Memory in top gear, and the horse responded beautifully to pose a challenge to the leader. In what was a thrilling finish, Phenomenal Memory put his head on the post, denying Jigsaw a win here, while Chef Dove was in third, a length and a half behind. The big race of the day was the Audi Multi-Million, a race for 3-year-olds over 1200 meters. Who Makes the Rules from Malesh Naredu's yard was the pack leader. Making only his second career start and with the win on debut, the Colt looked poised to take home this one as well, with Suraj Naredu on his back. SK Sundarji had a runner in Serenita, who had run second in the Audi Juvenile Multi-Million over 1200 meters on 21st February, and would now be looking at securing her second win from 3 starts, with Dashrath Singh holding her reins.
As they go towards the 400 meters, Serenita the leader by about 2 lengths from Who Makes the Rules as they come into the last 300. Serenita by about 1 3/4 lengths from Who Makes the Rules under the whip. Going inside the last 150 meters there, and Serenita by about a length there from Who Makes the Rules, coming up on the outside to challenge. But as they go into the last 50 meters, it's Serenita holding on from Who Makes the Rules in the last 50 meters, and it's Who Makes the Rules at the post, wins it from Serenita.
I think, we just ran the 6 furlong race because it was a multi-million. He needs much longer already, as you can see. We got lucky in the end because I think if Serenita stopped more than us, we need more ground, and I think we'll be seen to much better effect over longer distances later on. I think this is it for the season, and we may go to Bangalore. Otherwise, this is it for Bombay.
It was a bit of a shocker of a race in the sense that 3 horses out of the 5 really good horses fell down. Almost at the turn, it turned out to be a 2-horse race. We had lost a little bit of timing in the 800 meters because of the fall. But I think he stayed a very good course, he ran very well, and we were able to corner her at the right time.
Unfortunately, there was a bad accident in the race, which was very saddening. And thank to Almighty that all the 3 jockeys are safe and sound. Yes, my horse did improve well after the last run, and he went quite impressive. And he did meet with a little interference. I think that if the race ran over a little better way, he would have run better way.
Unfortunately, there was a bad accident. I was right behind the horse that fell in front of me, and both the times my horse has shown he's a very brave and gutsy horse. Last time he squeezed in through a very narrow gap. Today this mishap happened in front, and he was brave enough to come over that. He ran like a very mature horse, and it's very unfortunate that there was this accident. But anyway, he came into the straight well. He's still a bit green, very immature still. He's lugging in a lot, so I had to correct him, and when he got into his strides, he was comfortable and he knew his job was done.
That was some fine racing time. For a short break here. When we return, is the CN Wadia Cup. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us here on the Winning Post. Time now to go to the CN Wadia Gold Cup, a Group 2 race for 4-year-old horses and over, and this year fielded 5 runners.
Sunday's race day was one filled with plenty of action both on and off the track. The on-track action was taken care of with 9 races on the cards, which included the big one, the CN Wadia Gold Cup. While the paddock saw not just the horses parading but also the contestants of the Gladrags pageant. Next up on the cards was the Nadia Mody Wadia Trophy for maiden Indian 3-year-old horses. 7 horses made their way to the paddock for the race to be run over 1000 meters. In the field was Kingston Heath from based on Chinoy's yard, who had run a disappointing 10th in his last start, a maiden over 1000 meters during Derby weekend. He would now be looking at improving on that performance with D Singh partnering him. Joining him was Negara from Faisal Abbas's stable, who had a 3rd place under her belt from her last start, the Harvard University Trophy Division 1 over 1200 meters on 30th January, and would now be looking at shedding her maiden status with P.S. Chauhan in the saddle.
Negara is trying to make a forward move on the near side, but it is right of colours just by a neck in front of Kingston Heath. Another 3 lengths behind is Negara, but Kingston Heath in the centre. Hanson Hills is broken away into a 2.5 length lead over Negara. Kingston Heath is going to be makes it very easily from Negara. Then there's right of colours, El Tycoon, Amicus Securi. After that is Galtero. Last of all is
रेस में मेरा घोड़ा ही बेटर था। आई थिंक पहले से ही मेरे को ट्रैक वर्क भी दिया था, मेरे को आइडिया था कि मेरा घोड़ा बेस्ट है और मैं जैसे सेटल किया हॉर्स और फिर आई थिंक विनिंग कंफर्टेबली। जैसे ही मैंने सेटल किया आई थिंक मालूम चल गया कि मैं विनिंग।
Right of Colours jumped to the lead as soon as the horses were out of the gates and held on to it for the better part of the race. With 300 to go, however, Kingston Heath picked up speed and snatched the lead to take home the race with 4 3/4 lengths to spare over Negara, who denied Right of Colours 2nd place, relegating her to 3rd. Next up was the RJ Kola Trophy, a 1400-meter race for maiden Indian 3-year-old horses. 7 horses came into the parade ring, which included the pacey Shroff-trained Temerity, who was making her 2nd career start and stepping up in trip. She had run 4th on debut in the Harvard University Trophy and would now be looking at securing her maiden win with Neeraj Rawal holding her reins. Dallas Todiwala trained Imperial Heritage ran a disappointing 7th in his last start, the Bright Outdoor Media Trophy over 1,600 meters on Derby Day, and would now be hoping for a better result this time out over the shorter trip with Pete Trevor on his back.
In about 2 lengths in front of Artificial trying to come up on the outside, a length and a half for the back. There's Pugnacious towards the inside rails. Then there is Imperial Heritage. Then comes King's Baron with about 300 meters more to run. Temerity is travelling nicely indeed, about 3.5-4 lengths in front of Artificial under the stick. After that, there's Imperial Heritage towards the inside rails with about 150 meters more to run. And Temerity is cantering away, well clear of the rest. Temerity scores an impressive win here from the fight is on for the minor places, with Imperial Heritage finishing up 2nd, clear from Pugnacious is 3rd, then comes Artificial.
Well, it was a very facile victory, and this was the 2nd race of her career. And interestingly, her full sister has won a listed race in England. So it's a very exquisite pedigree, and the performance is very heartening. It was almost a pillar to post mission, as you saw. So I think there was little doubt. It was like one of those one-sided facile victories. Next, I think she requires even further distance. She will go. Maybe we'll try her in a mile now.
Temerity was at the lead as soon as the horses jumped out the gates and held on to it all the way to the finish line, travelling nicely under the able hands of Neeraj Rawal. The rest of the field trailed in his wake, with Imperial Heritage coming 2nd, 8 1/4 lengths behind, while Pugnacious was in 3rd, with Artificial finishing 4th. 2 races later came the feature race of the day, the CN Wadia Gold Cup Group 2. To say that CN Wadia was a man with a vision would be an understatement. Without his foresight, Mumbai would have been deprived of a space that is its crowning jewel. That is at once the playground of the rich and famous and a unifying platform that sees people from all walks of life come together to partake in a sport that is oft considered the sport of the elite. It is a space that stands as a testament to the fact that this may not be true. And it is in honour of this man and his vision that the CN Wadia Gold Cup is run. This year's running saw 5 horses come into the fray for the contest to be run over 2,400 meters. Of the 5, Malaysia Redu trained Colombianas stood head and shoulders above with a track record of 3 wins from 9 starts. The Colts had last appeared in the Derby and had run a game 5th then. With Suraj Naraidu back in the saddle this time, he would be looking at stretching his winning tally to 4. He would, however, be opposed by Azuro from SS Ataulahi's yard, who had placed second the last time out in the Stayers Trial Stakes over 2,400 metres on his home ground in Bangalore, and would now be hoping for a win here with Pete Trevor on his back.
In the straight, Booker Jones just a shade in front of the Unicorn is ranging in second. Azuro is making a forward move in third, and Colombiana has been switched on the outside. For still last up there is an acquired taste, but the Unicorn is the leader. From Azuro is galloping strongly in second spot. Colombiana trying to make a forward move in third, but Azuro is about 2 lengths ahead. Colombiana is the one galloping strongly in second spot, but Azuro is 2 lengths ahead of Colombiana. Azuro makes it from Colombiana. Booker Jones third ahead of the Unicorn.
Trevor rode a beautiful race. He's a big-hearted horse, and both of them did well at the end. When Booker Jones went to the front, because I thought the horse to beat was Booker Jones, he didn't run to expectations today. So when he went to the front, I thought that Azuro would win it today. He's going to be resting. He's been on the go from last May, so he's going to be resting now. Bangalore summer season.
It was a quite simple race. It was clear that Unicorn would go to the front. I had nothing in my mind that I would sit second, third or anyway. My horse basically likes a free running race wherever he's comfortable, and the pace was quite fast and it suited him. Straight moment I asked him and he quick enough and he did his best and he won comfortably. Moment he came next to Unicorn and he answered to my one crack and he picked up that 2 lengths and kept on going. I knew that it's all over.
Azuro made a forward move with 200 to go and dug in deep to clinch top honours with ease, holding local favourite Colombiana in second, a length and a quarter behind, while Booker Jones rounded it up in third. The day had its usual glamour and entertainment quotient with the Gladrags pageants for the young ones and a spirited dance performance for the benefit of all present.
Two maiden races back to back. With that, we slip into a short break. When we return, it's to look ahead at what's coming up. Stay with us. You're watching The Winning Post, powered by the Serum Institute of India in association with the Delton Casinos. It's time now to look ahead at the Group 3 Forbes Breeders Juvenile Fillies Championship Stakes and the Shapoorji Pallonji Breeders Juvenile Colts Championship to see who's the best in the next crop.
The season end brings something to look forward to, and that is the next racing crop that will battle it out for supremacy in the coming season. The Forbes Breeders Juvenile Colts and Fillies Championship races, sponsored by Shapoorji Pallonji, are two of the most important ones in the juveniles pattern. And this year's running, to be run next Sunday in Mahalakshmi, has some interesting horses to take note of.
I have 2 runners in the Forbes Million, the Fillies, Katelia and Sasra Bahu. It's a very open race and it's a mile, and this year's company looks to be very weak and anyone can win, and I'm hoping my filly runs a big race. I have a horse called Domination running in the Colts, Shapoorji Million. He's run some decent races and he showed that he needs a longer trip. I think the mile is the right distance and just hoping for the best.
Star Counsellor runs the Shapoorji Colts Million. It's a mile race for the 3-year-olds. It's one of the lead-up races for the Summer Classics. He's worked well, he's feeling well. I hope he does well and puts in a bold show.
I have a filly called Glorious Size which runs the Forbes Million, and she's won her last start and she's doing well and her prep work is good. Hopefully she should run a big race. In the Shapoorji Million I have 2 horses, Himalaya and Carbonara. Himalaya won his last start, quite interesting with good timing. Carbonara also won his debut, went on his debut. Both of them run well.
Costa Esmeralda has worked well. I think she'll run a good race. The experience of her last run will stand her in good stead. She's still immature and she's a filly that's a lot on the leg. She needs to mature a lot more. Let's see how she goes. San Martino, it's a nice horse. He's also a bit soft, but I think he'll like the mile and he's worked well this morning.
And with that, it's curtains for this week's episode of The Winning Post. If you've missed anything, you can always watch it on our YouTube channel. Also, remember to follow Mohit Lalwani for his tips. And until we see you next time, may the horse be with you. Goodbye.